Another episode of The Traveling Golfer, another adventure. This time from an area of the country we have never visited. We dispatched producer-director Jamie McWilliams. You're gonna love what you see.
Behind me are the hills of West Virginia. You know, many great golfing destinations started as rural retreats of wealthy industrialists. Around 1900, Earl Oglebay bought a huge tract of land near Wheeling, West Virginia. When he passed, he willed the estate to the city, and it was a wonderful gift to its residents because, over time, Oglebay Park developed into an amazing resort and recreation area. Oh, it's also been a pretty good gift for golfers. And you'll see why in this episode of The Traveling Golfer.
This lager comes from a place that's been brewing beer for longer than anyone else in America, where men and women have crafted amber gold in the caves below since before refrigeration. It comes from Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, and brings with it all the know-how that doing a thing well for nearly 200 years affords. Yuengling Traditional Lager. Respect. It's earned.
Good. Well, yeah, I'd love for you to come over if you feel like you can get out and it's just plain dining.
Danny Ackerman is a native son of Wheeling, West Virginia. His distinguished career as a golf professional has taken him to Pinehurst in central Ohio. But now he's returned to his roots and oversees all the golf operations at Oglebay. How did golf evolve at Oglebay?
Well, it started in really the late 20s, early 30s with the 9-hole course at Wheeling Park, and then came aboard was the Crispin Golf Course, built by Mr. Bob Beery, a local PGA professional. The Crispin course that was built in the 30s was built architecturally with the lay of the land. They really didn't move much dirt back then other than to build a little bit of the tees and the greens. The Jones then came aboard in the early 70s. It came aboard due to the fact of how much the resort was growing and the area growing in general with golf and the golf boom. You see a little bit more dirt being moved, fairways are a little flatter, but we do have some elevation and slope changes there. The topography here, if the ball gets going with the slope, in particularly on the Jones course, it can get away from you awfully quick. But then as you progress to the Palmer, I think that's where you see the advanced technology. In 2000, the Palmer Golf Course opened. The fairways are not quite as sloped. The greens have better complexes, but I think that's the evolution of architecture within the game of golf. So they do, as you come here, I think that's what's unique, is you see how architecture evolved within the game of golf. The West Virginia Classic was staged here for many years. Mainly when I was in the high school area, I remember caddying in it. What a great experience to have the opportunity to be around the best women players in the United States at that time. The green speeds at that time were very fast, and I think with the slopes, it created quite a bit of a challenge. You had to be in condition to get around this golf course. For me, as a young boy, what stood out to me, there was a person named Renee Powell who was from Canton, Ohio. She let me walk the golf course with her during the tournament rounds. That was before they roped off the fairways and everything. So it was quite a special opportunity for a 14-year-old boy to walk the fairways. She spoke to me and kind of talked to me and asked me about my golf experiences and how I was doing, and really made a lasting impression on a young person.
Having visited Ireland, one of the outstanding characteristics I noticed around here are these beautiful hanging plants.
It's unique to Oglebay in that we have a horticulturalist and a greenhouse that provides the flowers. Our maintenance staff takes care of the flowers on a daily basis, and they are quite extraordinary. You don't see that special touch done very often, but it is a unique feature to the park. Right behind me we have our par 3 driving range and winter ski area. It's quite unique in that it is a multi-purpose area, that we do have a 9-hole par 3 course, that we do some night golf in the summer months on Saturdays. It is a driving range in the summer, but then turns into a kind of a small ski area along with snowboarding, and be introducing tubing for the first time. So it's quite a neat little area.
When we come back, we'll take a closer look at Oglebay's trio of 18-hole golf courses and what it takes to keep them looking good.
Hi, David Glott here, founder and president of Tour Edge Golf, bringing you the Hot Launch 2 Fairway Wood. This is the straight version, so it's a little more traditional, but it's a little larger with a low center of gravity, so it's really easy to hit. The 450 SS Hyper Steel construction is thinner than a normal fairway wood for greater forgiveness. The new deeper center of gravity and new heavier sole weight really launches the ball quickly. The shallow face design really makes this fairway wood easy to hit from rough or tight lies from the fairway.
We dare you to find a better custom-fitted value in golf. Tour Edge is golf's most solid investment.
I think for the people who are the first timer here, it is nice to play all 3 golf courses. Certainly the Jones and the Palmer are typically what people like, but the Crispin golf course, I think if you understand where our architecture was and where it is now from a historical standpoint, it's neat to see and be a part of. It probably lends itself to play more to the senior player or to the beginning player. But I think if you really look at it from the historical perspective, that it can be a neat little golf course to play.
I came to Oglebay through Pittsburgh, just a little more than an hour away. That's also where Shane Rice lived and worked. Here, much of his talent was employed in player development and instruction before becoming the head professional at Oglebay.
When golfers come here and experience the Jones course, they're going to find a golf course that requires them to hit not just at the fairways, but certain sides of the fairways. Mr. Jones really integrated the golf course well with the terrain that we have here. There's very little movement of land to create this golf course, so it really fits in nicely. There's a lot of holes here where you can chew off a little bit of distance depending on the angle you take, and there's times where you could be in the rough and be a lot shorter, a lot closer than you would be on one side of the fairway. And the greens, oftentimes they have very obvious breaks, and Jones course here is very well known for its difficult greens, and yeah, you better know where you're going to putt from, or you could have a pretty tough go of it out there.
Well, down south they talk about the grain, and here, with the cut of the grass, it's almost like playing grain in the sense that if you're running against it or running with it, a heck of a difference.
I would argue that much like the South, you're 100% on in saying that you have to pay attention to the direction that grass is going, and it will have a significant impact on your putts.
Looking at the terrain, and again, I think this is a little characteristic of the times, you do have some blind shots here that you have to deal with.
One that really comes to mind for me here at the Robert Trent Jones course is hole number 17. Tee shot from the farther back tees is very blind. If you didn't play the hole before, you probably wouldn't have a whole heck of a lot of good idea where to go. And a lot of the times on our Jones course, the tee shot itself may not appear to be blind, but the landing area where the ball will ultimately carry to is not visible from the tee box. So it's blind and not blind at the same time, but there's a lot of holes out here where that'll be the case.
And they did play championship golf here for a number of years.
Yes, they did.
So you still consider it, with changes in technology, a championship course?
The LPGA Tour did play here for several years through the 70s, and just like it did back then, I feel that this golf course will give anybody of any level, any skill set, particularly from the back tees, everything that they can handle. And I think it's still a championship golf course from start to finish.
Risk reward seems to be part of the DNA in the Palmer course.
Risk reward is a big part of the DNA of the Palmer course. It's a golf course that features a couple drivable par fours that you could legitimately make an eagle on, or you can make a quadruple bogey on, and very characteristic of our Palmer golf course. The par fives are all reachable in two, and that's one of the fun characteristics of the golf course as well, and certainly brings in the ability to make an eagle as well as the ability to make an 8.
Lots of room to operate on all the courses, even with the angles. Well, if you go a little too far, you might kiss your ball goodbye.
Yes, you may. In our golf courses, you miss the fairway, the severity of your side hill, your uphill, your downhill lies are going to increase significantly the further you progress away from your target. Over on the Palmer golf course, you start to spray it a little bit left and right, and not only will the severity of your stances increase, but you'll be playing out of some fescue grass and some trees, and if you find your ball, it might be an accomplishment, let alone playing it out of there.
On the Palmer golf course is where you see the natural areas. It's something that you're seeing in golf more and more often, to try to keep natural areas natural. It does create a little bit of penal area for the average player that might hit it a little crooked, but as you stated, that the areas or the tee shots here are quite generous, which is good for resort golf and getting people around.
For people coming to play our golf courses, I would tend to recommend to try to play Palmer first and followed by Jones. And with that said, one of the great things about this golf facility is that although we have 2 golf courses here on property out of the same location, they are 2 significantly different type golf courses. You can play one day and play another the next. Player development is a big part of my golfing life, and to that end, one of the groups of folks that I tend to try to focus on are the juniors and growing the game to the youth. I am very happy that we have secured ourselves as a first tee program location for the first tee of West Virginia, and tries to teach kids life skills through the game of golf, with the motto being good golfers and better people. And that's the kind of golfers we want to grow around here, and it's the kind of golfers that people would like to have patronize their facilities.
The maintenance area, usually out of sight and overlooked, is the lifeblood of a golf course's health. Nick Janovich is an Ohio State graduate, and while working at Oglebay, he was also working on a postgraduate degree. That's why, pun intended, he's on the cutting edge of technology as superintendent at Oglebay.
We have 2 very unique golf courses. Jones is very classic, very historical, so that does make it a little harder on us. We have to think about that as we go through our setup and whatnot to make sure that golfers enjoy the property as it was designed. The grass on the Jones course takes a little more input than the varieties that we have on the Arnold Palmer course that are kind of brand new. They don't use as much resources. We were one of the first in the country to use soil sensors in our greens, so we have soil sensors in almost all of our greens right now. It tells us salinity, temperature, etc. And we use that to guide our inputs as we move through our daily practices. We have a lot of guests that have returned year after year for 20 or 30 years, 40 years even, as crazy as that may seem. And so the feedback is overwhelmingly positive about our facilities.
The job of overseeing such a sprawling complex can be pretty daunting. I asked General Manager Herb Falkenberry, how does he do it?
It's a lot like herding cats, to be perfectly honest, but we have a great team of people. A lot of people have years of experience here on the property, so they bring a lot of the history of the property to life, things of that nature. But with the newness, if you will, of some of the things and the attractions and stuff that we're doing as well, there's the new and the freshness that's occurring. This property was deeded to the city of Wheeling, West Virginia, by Earl Oglebay. The history goes all the way back to when he started this as his summer home. And the gentleman wanted to be sure that the city of Wheeling could always use it for recreation and education. And we've expanded over the years to where we've been embraced heavily by West Virginia and the history from that standpoint as well.
What are some of the things people will see here?
Oh Lord, there's so many things to do here. It's 1,700 acres of land to start with. Obviously you can stay and lodge with us in the lodge itself, the 258 rooms with that. We literally go from an economic room, or we refer to them as a standard room, all the way up to the preferred. And the preferred is roomier. It's generally about 500 to 600 square feet. Of course they're appointed very well, you know, a soaking tub with jacuzzi as well as a standing shower, you know, lots of granite, things of this nature. Very comfortable, but yet kept to the tradition of the park itself and from the simplicity standpoint. They're very well received. Most of the rooms in that case have a balcony that overlooks either the park or the inside of the park. There are cottages as well that range from 2 to 8 bedrooms and literally have the ability to sleep up to 32 people in some of the estate homes that we have. Then the recreational, we have literally the golf courses. Those are fabulous. The lake, Shank Lake, is small by lake standards, as you and I would know, but by the same token, you can get pedal boats out on it, kayaks, things of that nature, and have a good time. There's mini golf. There's an aerial challenge course. It gives people the opportunity to challenge themselves or their family members and have a lot of fun on high tree elements that, you know, work their way through the park as well. The museums. There's the Mansion Museum itself, bringing the history of the area.
The mansion's pretty impressive, and Mr. Oglebay actually lived there?
It was his summer home, believe it or not, and that's how it got started. And he had the separate to the side of that is the foundation office where the guests would stay.
And I noticed there's an amphitheater.
The amphitheater is a great thing for us. It's 1,400 seats. We do everything from religious services there to festivals of music. We've had some comedy acts, things like that, but with 1,400 seats, we look for things that can fill the venue better.
And many cities have zoos, but you don't think of a city this size and you don't think of a park in that proportion, but you've got a really nifty little zoo here.
We do. The zoo is fantastic in the sense that it was a grant from the Good family. That's why it's called the Good Zoo. It's a petite zoo by, you know, zoo standards, but by the same token, it's got a lot of exhibits and a lot of great opportunity to interact with the animals themselves. You can book an animal experience if you want, and you can, you know, be up close and personal, feeding lemurs or the sloths, or working with the boa constrictors and things of this nature.
So many flowers.
Yes.
So many flowers.
Yes.
I mean, flowers, and that is really an eye-opener, and it sort of sets the tone for the beauty of the place.
It absolutely does. They take great pride in it. We have a full-time curator who handles the horticultural will of the property as well. And we have 2 full-time greenhouses which grow the plants and things of this nature. And we sell them, of course, to the public as well. But Mr. Oglebay prided himself on his gardens and the beauty of his gardens and walking through the gardens. And we've carried on that tradition since it came, you know, the Oglebay Park. The history of the area in Wheeling itself is glasswork, and the historic side of that is taken and shown in the Glassworks Museum, which is here on property. The family bring them because there's so much for the kids to do, and the wife, we have a spa on property that is an award-winning spa with a little over 7,000 square feet of treatment area.
Onion, sausage.
But we also have the golf group outing, and, you know, that comes as well, and we enjoy them all and welcome them all. With 4 courses, the flexibility is tremendous for us, so we have the ability to, you know, work around tee times that are necessary to meet schedules. But by the same token, we also want to make sure that there's good steaks for the golfers. We also want to make sure that there's a relaxing bar for them. Glassworks Grill takes care of that.
The bacon and chicken pizza is superb.
And over at the Spidell course, they do great food there as well. More of a, you know, grab and go, if you will, but the beers flow very well and they're very cold.
Special part of our operations here at Oglebay is our package business. It's very unique in that we have several cottages in and around the Spidell and throughout the park that allow groups of golfers, 4, 12, 16, to partner up in cabins and kind of create a weekend feel of cookouts. But the cottages blend in so much to golf packaging in this area and for our resort guests. We also have the lodge, to where a husband and wife or a few people might want to stay over there. So it's quite unique to stay on property and maneuver your way around to the various golf courses. When you grow up here, you feel like that every place in America has a park system like this, and as you move about, you realize they don't. The lodge, the pools, the zoo. I think they're just surprised that the West Virginia has the stigmatism to them of what West Virginia is about, and I think really the Wheeling area and the park system paints a picture or shows people that there is something pretty special here.
One of the things that we want to do is be sure that people know that they're welcome any time of the year. Golfers take advantage of us, a lot of them. They'll stop here on their way and do 1-2 rounds with us as well and do a great time with it. Everybody literally can find something to do and enjoy and relax, but that's the key. Have a great time and relax.
For those who'd like to visit us at Oglebay Resort, please visit us at oglebaygolf.com and we'll get you taken care of.
Wow, what a complete look at the lifestyle of this corner of West Virginia, Oglebay Resort. The only thing missing, maybe a little bit of the iconic John Denver song.
I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, country road.
Wow. Ask and you shall receive. That's how accommodating they are in West Virginia. We hope you liked this show, and special thanks to producer-director Jamie McWilliams for taking us on this voyage. Make sure you come back and visit Oglebay Resort. I guarantee you'll love it.
Tony Leodora's golf wardrobe, courtesy of Antigua, the leader in modern golf apparel.
Tour Edge is the official equipment sponsor of the Traveling Golfer.